The night is here now. It arrived without asking, the way it always does. You don't have to meet it or greet it or do anything about it at all. It simply came, the way evening becomes something else, and now there is only this. The day has ended, not because you finished it, but because it finished itself. Everything you were holding can be set down now. Not dramatically, not with ceremony, just the way you'd set down a bag you've been carrying when you realize you're home. The night doesn't ask what you did today. It doesn't need to know. It's already making space for you, the way a room makes space, just by being empty and still. There's a quality to the air now that wasn't there before. Something about the temperature, the weight, the way sound moves differently. The night has its own texture. It feels like something you could almost touch, if touching mattered. But it doesn't. Nothing needs to be touched or held or understood right now. The night is not waiting for anything. It's already here, doing what it does, which is nothing at all. Just existing, just being the place where things rest. You can rest too. Not because you've earned it or because the day was hard or easy. Just because the night is here, and that's what the night is for. It's a place where effort doesn't live, where the idea of effort dissolves like sugar in water until you can't tell where it went. Your body knows this already. It's been waiting all day for this, for the moment when it doesn't have to hold itself upright, hold itself together, hold itself ready. The muscles in your face can let go of whatever expression they were making. No one is looking. No one needs to see anything. The night sees nothing, and that's its gift. It doesn't observe or judge or keep track. It just spreads itself out like a blanket that has no edges. You're somewhere in the middle of it now. Not lost. Not found. Just here. And here is enough. Here is more than enough. Here is everything that's needed, which is almost nothing at all. There's a corner of a room somewhere in your mind. It's dim, not dark. There's just enough light to see the shape of things, but not their details. A chair, maybe. A table. A window with curtains that don't quite close. Nothing in this room needs you. Everything is already where it belongs. The chair is not waiting to be sat in. The table is not waiting to be used. They're just there, resting in their own existence, the way objects do when no one is asking anything of them. You can be like that too. Just here, just resting, not waiting for anything or moving toward anything. The night holds this room the way it holds everything. Gently, without effort, the way water holds a stone at the bottom of a stream. The stone doesn't have to do anything. It just rests there, and the water moves around it and time passes and nothing changes, and that's perfect. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. You don't have to be awake for any of this. You don't have to be asleep either. You can be that in-between thing, that place where you're not quite anywhere, where thoughts start to blur at the edges, where you forget what you were thinking about mid-thought, and it doesn't matter. The night has a sound if you listen for it. Not a real sound, but the sound of things being still. The sound of air that isn't moving. The sound of a house settling into itself. Little creaks and sighs that mean nothing. Just the building remembering it's made of wood and nails and time. You're settling too. Into the surface beneath you, into the dark, into the hours that stretch ahead with no shape or purpose. There's nowhere to go. Nothing to become. The night doesn't ask you to transform or heal or let go or understand. It just spreads itself around you like water around that stone. And you can rest there. You can stay there as long as you need, which might be all night, which might be forever, for all the night cares. It has no schedule, no agenda, no end it's moving toward. It's just here, being night, the way it's been night a billion times before. And you're here too. And that's all there is. Something is loosening. You might not notice it at first, but it's happening. The tightness you didn't know you were carrying is starting to come undone. Not because you're trying to release it. Not because you're breathing deeply or thinking peaceful thoughts. Just because the night does this. It unravels things slowly, the way a knot unravels when you stop pulling on it. Your thoughts are starting to separate from each other. They're no longer linked in that urgent way they were during the day. One thought arises, and then it fades, and another one drifts by, and they're not connected. They don't need to be. They're just passing through like clouds, and you don't have to follow them or finish them or make sense of them. The night is full of unfinished thoughts. They float everywhere, half-formed, barely there. Yours are joining them now, becoming part of that soft drift. There's a hallway somewhere. It's long and narrow, and the floor is wood. Old wood that's been walked on so many times it's smooth and slightly uneven. The walls are painted a color you can't quite name in this light. Something pale. Something neutral. At the end of the hallway there's a door, but it doesn't matter if it's open or closed. You're not walking toward it. You're just here, in the hallway, in the dim quiet, where nothing is happening. The hallway doesn't lead anywhere that matters. It's just a space between other spaces, and that's what makes it perfect. You can stay here, in this in-between place, where you don't have to be anyone or do anything. Where you can forget what room you came from and what room you were going to. The day is behind you now, but not in a way you have to think about. It's just back there, fading, losing its details. The things that felt important are becoming smaller. The things you needed to remember are becoming fuzzy at the edges. And that's fine. That's what the night does to daylight things. It softens them. It takes away their sharpness. Until they're just shapes in the dark, barely visible, barely real. You don't have to hold on to any of it. The night will hold it for you, or let it go, whichever is easier. Whichever requires less effort. Because effort is the thing the night doesn't know how to do. It only knows how to be still, how to spread out, how to make room for everything without holding on to anything. Your name is becoming quieter. Not gone, just quiet. It's still there if you reach for it, but you don't have to. You can let it rest, the way you'd let a word rest on your tongue without saying it. All the things that make you are resting now. Your history, your plans, your roles, your worries. They're all setting themselves down, gently, in corners and on shelves and in drawers that close without a sound. And what's left is just this. This breath, this moment. This presence that doesn't have a name or a story. Just the simple fact of being here in the night, while the night does what it does. There's a window in another room. You're not in that room, but you can sense it somehow. The window is open just slightly, and the air coming in is cool and soft. It smells like nothing in particular, or maybe like earth and leaves and distance. The curtain moves, barely, just a slight shifting that you could miss if you blinked. But you're not blinking. You're not even looking. You're just aware dimly that somewhere there's a window, and air is moving, and the night is breathing in its own slow way. Everything is breathing, in fact. The walls, the floors, the darkness itself. All of it expanding and contracting so slowly you can't measure it. So slowly it might not be moving at all. But it feels like breathing anyway. Like the whole night is a lung, and you're inside it, and it's holding you gently while it breathes. You don't have to match its rhythm. You don't have to do anything. Your own breathing can be whatever it wants to be. Fast, slow, shallow, deep, uneven, forgetting to happen and then remembering. It's all fine. It's all exactly what's supposed to be happening, which is nothing in particular. Just this slow dissolving of the boundary between being awake and being asleep. That boundary is so thin now you can barely tell which side you're on. And it doesn't matter. The night doesn't care if you're awake or asleep. It holds you either way, the same way, with the same gentle disinterest. The hallway is still there, if you want to think about it. Or it's gone, replaced by something else. A staircase, maybe leading down into deeper quiet. Or a garden at night, where you can't see the flowers but you know they're there. Or just darkness, pure and simple, with no shapes in it at all. It doesn't matter what you see or don't see. The night holds all of it and none of it at the same time. You're drifting now, in that way that feels like staying still. Not falling, just settling deeper into whatever is beneath you. Sinking but safely. The way you'd sink into deep water if the water was warm and you knew you could breathe it. There's no bottom to reach. Just this gentle descent that goes on, and that's perfect. That's exactly right. Because the night has no bottom either. It just goes down and down into more night, softer and darker and quieter, and you can follow it as far as you want. Or you can stay right here, hovering in this middle place, where nothing is decided and nothing needs to be. Where the only thing happening is time passing, and even that is barely happening. Just the slow turning of the earth, which you can't feel. Just the hours adding up in the dark, one after another, like drops of water so slow you never hear them land. There are objects in the dark. You can't see them, but they're there. A cup on a table, empty or half full, it doesn't matter. A book lying face down, its pages pressed together, holding the place where someone stopped reading. A pair of shoes by a door, one upright, one tipped over on its side. They're all at rest now, not waiting to be used, not longing for morning, just being what they are, in the dark where no one sees them. This is what objects do at night. They stop meaning anything. They stop being useful or important or even real in the way they're real during the day. They become just shapes, just presences, just the faint idea of themselves. And that's enough. That's all they need to be. You're like that too, right now. Just a shape in the dark. Just a presence. Just the faint idea of yourself. All the details have softened. All the things that make you specific, that make you this person and not another person, they're all resting now. They haven't gone away. They're just not active. They're not needed. In the dark, in the night, you don't have to be anyone in particular. You can just be this warm, breathing thing, this collection of sensations, this awareness that something is here. But even the awareness is dim now. It's not sharp or clear or focused. It's like a light bulb that's almost burned out, just barely glowing, just enough to know it's on. The room you're in, if you're in a room, has its own inventory of stillness. The walls are still. The ceiling is still. The air between you and the walls is still, holding itself in place like it's forgotten how to move. There's dust, probably, floating in the air, but so slowly you'd never see it. Just drifting, taking hours to fall a single inch. That's the pace of things now. The pace of dust. The pace of darkness. The pace of nothing happening. And you're moving at that pace too, or slower, or not at all. Somewhere in the house, or the building, or the world, there's a clock ticking. But you can't hear it. And even if you could, it wouldn't mean anything. Time is still passing, technically, but it's passing so slowly and so quietly that it might as well be standing still. Each second is like an hour. Each hour is like a minute. They're all the same length, which is to say they have no length at all. They're just this continuous now, stretching in all directions, with no beginning and no end. You could be here for 5 minutes or 5 hours. There's no way to tell, and no reason to care. The night doesn't measure itself. It just exists, one long seamless moment, and you're part of that moment now. Dissolved into it, like salt in water. There's a door somewhere that's closed. You can picture it, maybe, or you can just sense it. The door is painted white, or maybe wood-colored, and it has a handle, brass or silver or just metal. The door is closed, but not locked. There's no one on the other side. Or there is, but they're asleep, or they're gone, or they're just as still as you are. The door isn't keeping anything out or keeping anything in. It's just there being a door, doing what doors do when no one needs to open them. Just standing between one space and another, quiet and patient and meaningless. You don't need to open it. You don't need to wonder what's on the other side. The night is the same everywhere. This room, that room, the hallway, the outside, it's all just night. All the same darkness, the same quiet, the same sense of everything being at rest. You could walk through 100 doors and you'd still be here, in this same feeling, this same soft, empty space. So you might as well stay still. You might as well let the door be closed and let the other side be whatever it is. Your body is heavy now, or light, it's hard to tell which. Maybe both at once. Heavy enough to sink, light enough to float. Held in place by nothing, by the simple fact of lying here, of being here, of not needing to be anywhere else. Every part of you is resting in its own way. Your hands are resting, fingers slightly curled, not holding anything. Your legs are resting, knees soft, feet relaxed, not ready to walk or stand or move. Your face is resting, mouth slightly open or closed. It doesn't matter, jaw loose, eyes closed or almost closed. Even your thoughts are resting now, barely moving, barely forming. Just little wisps of half ideas, drifting through and then gone. Like smoke from a candle that burned out hours ago. There's a table somewhere with nothing on it. Just an empty surface, wood or laminate or glass. It doesn't matter. The table is empty and the emptiness feels full somehow. Full of possibility, or full of the absence of needing anything. You could put something on the table, but why would you? It's perfect as it is, holding nothing, asking for nothing, just being a flat surface in the dark. That's what everything is doing right now. Just being what it is, with no purpose, no function, no reason. The chair is just being a chair. The wall is just being a wall. The night is just being night. And you're just being you, or not even you. Just this thing that's here, breathing, existing, taking up space in the gentlest way possible. The hours are piling up like snow. Silent, soft, accumulating without effort. You can't see them, but they're there, covering everything, making the world quieter and softer and more indistinct. By morning, if morning comes, everything will be buried under hours. But morning is so far away it might not exist. It might just be a story someone told you once. Right now there's only this. Only the night and the dark and the stillness and the slow drift of time that feels like no time at all. Only the objects resting in their places. Only your body resting in its place. Only the world resting in its place, like a stone at the bottom of a river, like a leaf that fell months ago and is now part of the earth. Everything is where it belongs. Everything is still. Everything is held. There are places the night makes, just by being night. Not real places, but spaces in the dark that feel like you could walk into them. A field, maybe stretching out in all directions, covered in grass you can't see. Or a room with too many doors, all of them closed, all of them leading to other rooms just like this one. Or a road that goes on forever, empty and pale under a sky with no stars. These places don't have names. They don't exist on any map. They're just where the mind goes when it's drifting, when it's untethered from the day and floating in the dark. You might be in one of these places now, or you might be nowhere at all. Both feel the same. Both feel like this soft, directionless space where nothing is solid and nothing is certain, and that's exactly right. The geography of quiet has no landmarks. No mountains, no rivers, no trees or buildings or roads. Just this sense of expanse, of openness, of room for everything and nothing. You could walk for hours here and never arrive anywhere. You could stand still and feel like you're moving. Direction doesn't mean anything. Distance doesn't mean anything. It's all just space, soft and formless, wrapping around you like fog. There's a path maybe under your feet. You can't see it, but you can feel it, or imagine you can. Packed earth, or gravel, or just grass worn down by footsteps that might be yours, or might be someone else's, or might not exist at all. The path doesn't lead anywhere you need to go. It just leads forward, or what feels like forward, into more darkness, more quiet, more of this same soft, empty space. You can follow it if you want. Or you can step off it and wander into the grass, the invisible grass, where there's no path at all. It doesn't matter. The night doesn't care where you walk or if you walk. It holds you the same either way, keeps you just as safe, just as lost, just as found. Above you, if there's an above, the sky is dark. Not black, exactly. Just dark. The kind of dark that has depth to it, that feels like you could fall up into it if gravity worked differently. There might be stars, but they're very far away. So far away their light doesn't reach you. Or maybe they're there, but your eyes are closed, or you've forgotten how to look up. It doesn't matter. The sky is just another part of the dark, another layer of quiet, another surface that holds nothing and reflects nothing. You're walking now, maybe. Or you're lying still and imagining walking. Or you're somewhere between the two, hovering in that space where your body is still but your mind is drifting through landscapes that don't exist. Each step is slow if you're taking steps. Each step is like moving through water, or like moving through air that's thicker than it should be. There's resistance, but gentle resistance. The kind that doesn't stop you, just slows you down until slow becomes the only speed that makes sense. Behind you, there's nothing. The path you walked, if you walked a path, has already disappeared. The night fills in your footsteps the moment you lift your feet. There's no trail to follow back, no way to return to where you started, even if you wanted to. But you don't want to. There's nothing back there that you need. Everything you need is right here, which is almost nothing. Ahead of you, there's more of the same. More darkness, more quiet, more of this endless soft expanse. It's not lonely, exactly. It's just empty in a way that feels full. Empty of things, of people, of light and sound and meaning. But full of space, of possibility, of the gentle presence of nothing at all. You could walk forever here and never feel lost. Because you can't be lost if there's nowhere to arrive. You can't be lost if every direction is the same. You can only be here, moving or still, awake or asleep, present or absent, and all of it is fine. There's a sound now, maybe. Very faint, very far away. It might be wind, or it might be water, or it might be nothing at all. Just the sound of your own blood moving through your body, translated into something external, something outside yourself. It's rhythmic almost. A pulse, a flow, a rise and fall that has no beginning or end. You can listen to it, or you can let it fade into the background. It doesn't ask for your attention. It's just there like everything else, existing quietly, doing what it does without effort or intention. The field, if it's a field, has no edges. It just goes on until it becomes something else, or until it becomes nothing, or until you stop imagining it and it disappears. But even when it disappears, the feeling of it stays. The feeling of openness, of emptiness, of gentle endless space. That feeling is everywhere tonight. In this room, in that field, in the space between your thoughts, in the gaps between your breaths. It's the feeling of the night itself, spread out like an ocean with no shore. And you're floating in it, or sinking into it, or just being held by it. Suspended, weightless, safe. There's no one else here. Or there is, but they're so far away you can't see them or hear them or feel their presence. They're just another part of the dark, another shape in the distance, as still and quiet as everything else. You're alone, but it doesn't feel like loneliness. It feels like solitude, which is different. Solitude is chosen, or at least accepted. Solitude is the space you need to disappear into yourself, to let the edges of yourself blur, to become less solid and more like the night around you. The night is good at solitude. It's been alone forever, or it's been everywhere forever, which amounts to the same thing. It doesn't need company. It doesn't need anything. It just spreads and spreads, infinite and patient, and you can spread with it if you want. You can let yourself become as large as the darkness, as formless as quiet. Or you can stay small, curled up, contained. The night holds both. The night holds everything and asks nothing in return. The path is gone now if it was ever there. The field is gone, or it's still here. It's impossible to tell. You're just in the dark now, in the pure, simple dark, with no geography at all. Just space and time and the slow drift of nothing happening. And that's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything. You're forgetting things now. Not in a bad way. Not in a way that matters. Just in the way that happens when you've been lying still for a long time and the boundaries between thoughts start to dissolve. You forget what you were thinking about a moment ago. You forget what day it is, what time it is, what month, what year. You forget your plans, your worries, your responsibilities, the things you meant to do, the things you meant to remember. They're all still there somewhere, filed away in some back corner of your mind. But you can't reach them right now, and you don't want to. They're too far away, behind too many layers of darkness and quiet. And that's perfect. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. The night is a place for forgetting. Not forever, just for now. Just for these hours when forgetting feels like relief, like setting down a weight you didn't know you were carrying. Your body is forgetting too. Forgetting how to be tense, how to be ready, how to be alert. Forgetting the shape it holds during the day, the posture, the expression, the way it braces itself against the world. All of that is fading, loosening, coming undone. Your body is remembering something older, something deeper. The way it felt to be small and new, and not yet taught how to hold itself together. The way it felt to just be a body, without a story, without a past, without a future. Just bones and breath and warmth, and the simple fact of being alive. There's a window somewhere, in some room you're not in. The glass is cold. You can't feel it, but you know it somehow. Cold and smooth and slightly reflective, though there's nothing to reflect in the dark. Outside the window, there's more darkness. Or there's a street light, very far away, glowing softly, casting no shadows. Or there's nothing at all, just the void, just the night going on forever. You don't have to look out the window. You don't have to wonder what's out there. The night is the same everywhere, inside and outside, here and there. It doesn't matter which side of the glass you're on. You're already in the night, surrounded by it, held by it. The window is just a line someone drew once, a boundary that doesn't really exist. The words are forgetting themselves now. The ones you use during the day, the ones that mean things, the ones that connect to other words and build sentences and make sense. They're all drifting apart, losing their meanings, becoming just sounds, just shapes, just the idea of language without the substance. You might be thinking in words right now, or you might not. You might be thinking in images, or in feelings, or in nothing at all. Just this soft gray space where thoughts used to be, where everything is gentle and formless and impossible to hold on to. That's fine. That's better than fine. Language is for the day, for the world where things need to be named and explained and organized. The night doesn't need language. It speaks in silence, in stillness, in the space between heartbeats. And you're learning that language now, or remembering it, or just existing in it without trying to translate. There's a staircase, maybe. You're not climbing it or descending it. You're just aware of it, somewhere nearby or very far away. The steps are wooden or carpeted or stone. It changes every time you think about it. The railing is smooth under a hand that might be yours or might be someone else's, or might not be there at all. The staircase leads up and down at the same time, or it curves in a spiral, or it goes straight forever into darkness at both ends. You don't have to go anywhere. The staircase is just another shape in the dark, another place the night has made, another image drifting through the space where your thoughts used to be. You can look at it, or you can let it fade, or you can turn it into something else. A ladder, a slope, a hallway that tilts downward so gradually you don't notice you're descending until you're miles below where you started. It's all the same. It's all just the night arranging itself into shapes, and you watching, or not watching, or becoming part of the shapes yourself. The forgetting goes deeper now. You're forgetting who you are, in the most gentle way possible. Not losing yourself. Not becoming nothing. Just letting all the details that make you specific drift away for a while. Your name is quiet now. You said it earlier, maybe, or someone said it to you, but it's far away now. It doesn't attach to you the way it does during the day. It's just a sound, just a word, not more important than any other word. Your age, your job, your relationships, the story you tell about yourself, the person you think you are. All of it is resting, taking a break, dissolving into the dark where nothing needs to be defined or understood. What's left is just this breathing, this warmth, this presence that exists without needing to be anyone in particular. You could be anyone right now. You could be no one. Both feel the same. Both feel like relief. Both feel like coming home to a place you'd forgotten existed. There's a room with a fireplace, but no fire. Just the dark hollow of the hearth, and the smell of old ash, or the memory of the smell, or just the idea of it. The mantel has objects on it, but you can't see them. You just know they're there, the way you know things in dreams. A clock, maybe, that's stopped at some time that doesn't matter. A vase with no flowers. A photograph in a frame, facing away from you, showing a scene you'll never see. The room is still and cold, or maybe warm, it's hard to tell. Temperature is becoming as meaningless as time, as direction, as the distinction between here and there. Everything is the same temperature now. Everything is the temperature of night, which is neutral, which is nothing, which is perfect. You don't have to remember any of this. You don't have to hold on to these images, these words, these drifting half-thoughts. They'll be gone by morning, or by the time you wake, or by the next time your attention shifts and catches on something else. And that's fine. They're not here to be remembered. They're here to keep you company while you forget, to give you something to rest your mind on while your mind learns how to rest without holding on to anything. The night is full of things like this. Temporary, formless, barely there. And you're one of them now, just another soft presence in the dark, just another thing that's here without needing to be noticed or remembered or understood. Just here, just now, just this. And nothing else. The hours have weight now, but not the way they do during the day. Not the heavy weight of things that need to be done, of time running out, of schedules and deadlines, and the relentless march toward morning. This is a different kind of weight. Soft weight, gentle weight, the weight of a blanket, or the weight of your own body when it's completely still. The weight of time that has nowhere to go and nothing to accomplish. Time that just sits there quiet and patient, accumulating in the dark like water in a well. You can feel it, maybe, if you pay attention. The way the hours press down on you, gently, holding you in place without effort. Or you can ignore it, let it fade into the background, let it become just another part of the darkness you're floating in. Either way, it's there. The slow, steady weight of the night, growing heavier and softer with every hour that passes. There's no way to know how many hours have gone by. It could be 1 or 3 or 5. It could be 20 minutes or 20 years. The night doesn't measure itself in ways you can understand. It has its own clock, its own rhythm, and that rhythm is so slow it's almost not there at all. Just this sense of something vast and patient, unfolding around you, taking its time because it has all the time in the world. Your thoughts are heavier now too. Not troubled thoughts, not anxious thoughts. Just slow thoughts, thoughts that take a long time to form and even longer to fade. Thoughts that feel like they're made of something thicker than usual. Not water, not air. Something in between. Something that moves but slowly. Something that exists but barely. You might be thinking about something specific, or you might not. It's hard to tell anymore. The thoughts blend into each other, one becoming another, until you're not sure where one ends and the next begins. It's like trying to separate water from water. It's all just thought, all just this soft mental hum, this background presence that doesn't say anything or mean anything or want anything. It just is, and you can rest in it, or under it, or beside it, and it will hold you the same way the night holds everything. Gently, without judgment, without asking anything in return. There's a bed somewhere, though it might not be the bed you're lying in. It's just the idea of a bed, the feeling of a bed. Soft and horizontal and slightly worn, the way beds get after years of being slept in. The sheets are cool or warm, or just the same temperature as your skin, which means you can't really feel them anymore. They're there, but they're not there. Just another surface, another layer between you and the world, and the layers are so thin now they might as well not exist. You're sinking into this bed, or this idea of a bed, the way you'd sink into water or fog or time itself. Slowly, steadily, without resistance. Gravity is pulling you down, but it's a kind gravity, a gentle gravity. It doesn't yank or drag or force. It just suggests quietly that down is a good direction. That letting go is easier than holding on. That the bottom, if there is a bottom, is soft and safe and welcoming. And so you sink. Not quickly, not dramatically. Just this slow, continuous descent into deeper darkness, deeper quiet, deeper rest. The world above you is fading, growing distant, losing its details. The room, the house, the life you lived during the day. All of it is up there somewhere, on the surface, where things are bright and loud and complicated. But you're not on the surface anymore. You're below it, underneath it, in the quiet depths where nothing moves and nothing changes and time is just a rumor someone told you once. The weight of the hours is comforting, in its way. It's the weight of being held, of being pressed into place, of not being able to leave even if you wanted to. But you don't want to. You want to stay right here in this heavy, soft, endless now, where the only thing that matters is this moment, and this moment, and this moment. Each one the same as the last, each one fading into the next, until they're all just one long moment that never ends. There's a sound, maybe. The sound of settling. The sound of the house, or the building, or the earth itself, shifting slightly, adjusting its weight. A creak, a sigh, a soft groan that lasts for just a second and then disappears into the silence. It's not a worrying sound. It's just the sound of things being heavy, of things pressing down on other things, of the world holding itself together in the dark. You're part of that weight now. Part of the pressing down, part of the settling. Your body is heavy on the mattress or the floor, or whatever surface is beneath you. Your head is heavy on the pillow. Your arms are heavy at your sides, your legs heavy and still, your eyelids heavy and closed or almost closed. Everything is heavy, and that's good. That's safe. That's right. Lightness is for the day, for moving and doing and being awake. But the night is for heaviness, for sinking, for letting gravity do its work. The hours keep piling up, one on top of the other, like layers of cloth or layers of snow. Each one is thin, almost transparent, barely there. But together they add up to something significant. Something that covers everything, muffles everything, makes everything softer and quieter and more distant. You're buried under hours now, not in a bad way, just in a restful way. The way seeds are buried in the earth, waiting for spring but not waiting, really. Just being there, being still, being held by the weight of the soil and the darkness and the time passing overhead. Nothing is expected of you here. Nothing is asked. Nothing is needed. You can stay buried as long as you want, as long as the night lasts, as long as the hours keep falling and falling like rain that never makes a sound. There's no urgency, no deadline, no moment when you'll have to get up and shake off the hours and return to the world of light and noise and things that need to be done. Not yet. Not now. Not for a long time. And maybe never, for all you know in this moment. Maybe the hours will keep falling forever. Maybe the night will never end. Maybe you'll stay right here, in this soft, heavy darkness, for the rest of time. And that would be fine. That would be more than fine. That would be exactly what you've been waiting for all along, without knowing you were waiting. This rest. This heaviness. This gentle, endless weight. The night builds structures out of nothing. Not real structures, but shapes that feel like places. A corridor that has no walls but still feels enclosed. A ceiling that presses down without touching you. A floor that supports you without being solid. These are the rooms the night makes, and you're in one of them now. Or you're in all of them at once. Or you're in none of them, and they're all just ideas, just ways of organizing the darkness, so it feels like something you can understand. But you don't need to understand it. You don't need to know where you are or what shape the space around you is taking. You just need to be here, in this absence that feels like presence, in this emptiness that feels like shelter. The night is generous with its architecture. It gives you walls when you need them, and takes them away when you don't. It gives you doors that don't need to open, windows that don't need to show you anything. It gives you rooms that have no purpose, no function, no reason to exist except to be here, in the dark, holding space. You're in a hallway now, maybe. Long and narrow, stretching out in front of you and behind you, or maybe just in one direction, or maybe not stretching at all. Maybe it's just a few feet long, but it feels infinite because you can't see the end. The walls are close but not too close. Close enough to make you feel held, but not so close that you feel trapped. They're painted a color you can't name because you can't see color in the dark. Something pale, probably. Something that would reflect light if there was light to reflect. But there's no light, so the walls are just dark surfaces, just the idea of walls, just the feeling of something on either side of you. The floor beneath you is smooth. You can feel it, or imagine you can, even though you're not walking. It's cool and flat and slightly worn, the way floors get after years of people walking on them. But no one's walking on it now. No one has walked on it for hours or days or maybe ever. It's just here being a floor, doing what floors do when no one needs them. There are doors along the hallway, maybe. You can sense them, or you can picture them, even if you can't see them. They're evenly spaced or randomly placed, or there's just one door, or there are no doors at all. It changes depending on how you think about it. But the doors don't matter anyway, because you're not going to open them. You're not even going to touch them. You're just going to be aware that they're there, or that they might be there, or that the idea of them is there. And that's enough. Behind the doors, if there are doors, are other rooms. Empty rooms, probably. Quiet rooms. Rooms with nothing in them, or rooms full of objects you can't name, covered in dust, forgotten by everyone except the night. But you're not going to look in those rooms. You're not going to wonder what's inside them or why they're there. They're just part of the architecture, just more shapes in the dark, more spaces that exist without needing to be seen or entered or understood. The ceiling above you is high or low or not there at all. You can't tell, and it doesn't matter. Ceilings are just the places where walls stop. They're just the invisible boundary between the space you're in and the space above it. And the space above it is the same as the space you're in, which is just darkness, just night, just this soft, formless void that has no up or down or middle. You're moving through this hallway, maybe. Or you're standing still, and the hallway is moving around you. Or nothing is moving and nothing is still, because motion and stillness are the same thing here, in the night's architecture. Just different ways of describing the same absence of change. Each step you take, if you're taking steps, is slow and deliberate. Not because you're being careful, but because there's no reason to hurry. No destination. No goal. No place you're trying to reach. Just this sense of movement, this gentle forward drift, this feeling of being carried along by something that isn't quite time and isn't quite space, but is something in between. The hallway curves, maybe, or it branches, or it ends in a wall, and then continues somehow, impossibly, on the other side of that wall. The geometry doesn't make sense, but that's fine. The night's architecture doesn't follow the rules of the day. It bends and folds and loops back on itself in ways that would be confusing if you were trying to map it, if you were trying to understand it. But you're not trying to do anything. You're just here, just moving or not moving, just being part of the structure, another element in the night's design. There's a window suddenly, or not suddenly, or it was always there and you're only noticing it now. It's set into the wall at about eye level or higher or lower. The glass is dark. Not black, just dark. You can't see through it, but you know there's something on the other side. More darkness, probably. More night. Or maybe a room, dim and empty, with its own windows looking out onto more darkness still. It doesn't matter. The window is just another shape, another part of the structure. It doesn't show you anything you need to see. It doesn't offer any escape or any insight or any change in scenery. It's just there, being a window, being glass in a frame, being the idea of something you could look through if looking mattered. But looking doesn't matter. You're not trying to see anything. You're just trying to be here, in this space, in this structure made of absence and silence, and the gentle suggestion of walls and floors and ceilings. The architecture is endless, or it's very small, or it's both at once. It contains everything and nothing. It wraps around you like a shell, or opens up around you like a vast, empty cathedral. It presses close or stretches away into infinite distance. And all of it is the same. All of it is just the night, arranging itself into shapes, giving you something to rest your attention on while your attention dissolves. You could wander these halls forever and never see the same place twice. Or you could stand still and never move, and it wouldn't make any difference. The architecture doesn't care what you do. It's just here, just present, just holding space in the only way the night knows how. By being empty. By being absent. By being nothing that asks anything of you. And you can be nothing too if you want. You can dissolve into the architecture, become part of the walls or the floors or the darkness between rooms. You can let yourself be just another shape, just another space, just another absence in the night's infinite design. And that's the safest thing. That's the most restful thing. To disappear into the structure, to become indistinguishable from the walls and the darkness and the quiet. To be held so completely by the architecture that you forget you were ever separate from it. Everything is slow now. Slower than you've ever known slow could be. Your breath is slow, each inhale taking minutes, each exhale taking hours. Or that's what it feels like anyway. Time is stretched so thin it's almost transparent. You can see through it to the other side, which is just more time, just as slow, just as thin. Your heartbeat is slow, a distant thump that comes and goes like the tide. You can barely feel it, but you know it's there somewhere deep inside you, keeping time in its own patient way. One beat, and then an eternity, and then another beat. That's all there is. That's all there needs to be. The thoughts that move through your mind are slow too. They're not really thoughts anymore, more like impressions, feelings, the faint ghosts of ideas that take so long to form you forget what they were going to be by the time they arrive. And that's fine. You don't need to think. You don't need to understand or process or figure anything out. You just need to let the slow thoughts drift by like clouds in a sky that never changes. The night itself is slow. It's always been slow, but now you can feel it. The way it moves or doesn't move, the way it holds itself in place like a photograph, like a painting, like something that was captured once and has been still ever since. The darkness doesn't rush. It doesn't flow or shift or change. It just is, and it is everywhere, and it is moving so slowly that its movement is indistinguishable from stillness. You're slow too now. Every part of you has slowed down to match the night, to match the pace of things when there's no reason to hurry, no reason to do anything at all. Your eyelids are slow to close, slow to open, slow to flutter in that half state between. Your fingers are slow to curl, slow to relax, slow to do anything but rest where they are. Your whole body is like a clock that's winding down, each movement taking longer than the last, until movement stops being something you do and becomes something that happens to you slowly, gently, like a leaf falling from a tree in the stillest air. There's a staircase somewhere, or there was a staircase, or there's the memory of a staircase. You're descending it, one step at a time, but each step takes so long you're not sure if you're moving at all. Your foot lifts and hangs in the air and lowers and touches the next step down, and all of that takes an hour, or a night, or a lifetime. And then the other foot, just as slow, just as careful, just as endless. You could spend forever on this staircase, and maybe you will. Maybe you're spending forever on it right now. Maybe you've been on this staircase for years, descending so slowly that the top is a distant memory and the bottom is a dream you haven't had yet. But it doesn't matter. The staircase is just another form the night is taking, another shape to hold your attention while your attention fades. And the slowness is perfect. The slowness is everything. Because when things are this slow, they stop being things and start being states. States of being. States of rest. States of existence so minimal they barely count as existence at all. You're not a person anymore, not in any meaningful way. You're just a slow collection of sensations, a slow breath, a slow heartbeat, a slow fading awareness that something is here, but that something is so slow it might as well be nothing. The room around you, if you're in a room, is slow too. The walls are slow to be walls. The floor is slow to be a floor. The air is slow to be air, each molecule taking its time to move from one place to another. So slow that the air might as well be solid, might as well be stone, might as well be the night itself, frozen in place and time and space. You can hear the slowness if you listen. It's not a sound exactly, but it's there. The sound of nothing happening, stretched out over hours. The sound of silence that's so complete it has weight, texture, presence. The sound of the night breathing, if the night breathes, which it might, but so slowly you'd never notice unless you were listening for it, unless you were as slow as it is. And you are. You're that slow now. You've matched the night's pace, beat for beat, breath for breath, moment for moment. You're moving at the speed of darkness, which is barely moving at all, which is perfect, which is exactly where you're supposed to be. There's no future at this speed. The future requires things to happen, requires time to move forward, requires change and progress and the arrival of new moments. But nothing is arriving. Nothing is changing. This moment is the only moment, and it's stretching out in all directions, forward and backward and sideways, until it's not a moment anymore. It's just everything. Just this slow, soft, endless now. And the past is gone too, because the past requires memory, requires the ability to look back and see where you've been. But you can't look back when you're this slow. You can barely look at all. You can only be here, in this present that has no edges, no beginning, no end. Just this. Just now. Just slow. Your body is so heavy and so slow that it's barely a body anymore. It's more like an idea of a body, a suggestion, a faint outline in the dark. You can feel it, sort of, but it's distant, like something that belongs to someone else, something you're borrowing for the night and will return in the morning. But morning is so far away. Morning is on the other side of all this slowness, on the other side of all these hours, and the hours are piling up so slowly that morning might never come. And that's fine. You don't need morning. You don't need anything but this. This slowness, this heaviness, this sense of time stretching out like taffy, like honey, like something thick and sweet and impossible to measure. The night is teaching you how to be slow, how to let go of the need to move or think or do, how to just exist at the pace of stones, of mountains, of things that change so slowly their change is invisible. And you're learning. You're slowing down, down, until you're barely here at all. Until you're just a whisper, a sigh, a breath so slow it takes all night to finish. And that's perfect. That's exactly right. That's the slowest, softest, gentlest place you've ever been. You're drifting now, if you weren't already. Not moving, exactly, but not still either. Floating in some in-between state, some space where motion and rest are the same thing. The night has currents, you realize. Not air currents, not water currents, but something else. Currents of time, maybe, or currents of darkness, or just currents of the night itself, moving in ways you can't see or feel but that carry you anyway. Gently, without direction, without destination. You could resist these currents if you wanted to, but you don't want to. Resistance takes effort, and effort is something you've forgotten how to do. So you drift, and the currents take you where they take you, which is nowhere in particular. Just deeper into the night, deeper into the darkness, deeper into this state of being that has no name and needs no name. The drifting is pleasant, in a way that has nothing to do with pleasure. It's just easy. It's just what's happening. It requires nothing from you, asks nothing of you, gives you nothing and takes nothing away. It's neutral, pure, simple. The kind of experience that would be impossible to describe if anyone asked, which they won't, because there's no one here to ask. Just you and the night and the slow, gentle drift of one dissolving into the other. There's no map for where you're going. No landmarks, no signs, no way to tell if you've been here before or if this is all new territory. It feels familiar and strange at the same time, like a place you've seen in a dream, or a place you've never been but somehow recognize. The territory of drift is like that. It's everywhere and nowhere. It's the same place repeated infinitely, or it's 1,000 different places that all feel identical. You can't tell, and it doesn't matter. You're just here, just drifting, just being carried along by the night's slow current. Sometimes you drift close to something. A memory, maybe, or the shadow of a memory. Something that might have happened once, or might happen someday, or might never have existed at all. It floats by close enough to touch, but you don't touch it. You just watch it pass, or sense it passing, and then it's gone, absorbed back into the darkness. And you keep drifting. The memories don't hurt here, even the ones that hurt in the daylight. They're softened by the night, worn smooth, like stones in a river. They're just shapes now, just impressions, just faint echoes of things that mattered once but don't matter here. Here, nothing matters, and that's the greatest relief. To be in a place where mattering doesn't exist, where importance is a foreign concept, where everything is equal because everything is nothing. You drift past faces, maybe, or the idea of faces. People you've known, or people you've imagined, or people who are just constructs of the night, made up on the spot and discarded just as quickly. They don't speak to you. They don't acknowledge you. They're just there, briefly, like reflections in water that's too dark to reflect anything clearly. And then they're gone, and you're alone again, which is not lonely, which is just how things are in the territory of drift. The night is full of these almost things, these nearly presences. Objects that might be real or might be imagined. Sounds that might be sounds or might be the memory of sounds. Sensations that might be physical or might be purely mental. Everything is uncertain, everything is ambiguous, and that's perfect. Because certainty requires attention, requires the effort of holding on to something and saying, this is real, this is here, this matters. And you're not holding on to anything. You're letting everything slip through your fingers, slip through your mind, slip past you in the dark without grabbing or grasping or trying to keep any of it. You're just drifting, and the night is drifting, and everything is drifting together in this slow, formless dance. There's no rhythm to it, no pattern, no choreography. It's just chaos slowed down so much it looks like order. It's just randomness stretched out so thin it feels like peace. Sometimes the drifting takes you down, deeper, lower, further into whatever is beneath the surface of the night. You sink without sinking, fall without falling, descend into depths that have no bottom. And it's safe there in the deep places. Safer than the surface, where things are still recognizable, still nameable. Down here, everything is so dark and so quiet that distinction disappears. There's no you and no night, just this merged state, this unified field of darkness and rest and gentle dissolving. Sometimes the drifting takes you up, or what feels like up. Lighter, higher, floating towards something that might be the surface or might be another depth. It's impossible to tell. But it doesn't feel like waking. It doesn't feel like leaving. It just feels like another layer of the night, another level of the same endless territory. And you can drift there too, or drift back down, or drift sideways into some other dimension of the dark that you didn't know existed until you were already there. The territory has no borders. It goes on forever in all directions, or it's very small and you're just moving in circles, or it doesn't have dimensions at all and you're not moving. You're just changing slowly, becoming something other than what you were without ever noticing the transition. You might be different now than you were when the night began. You might be the same. There's no way to tell and no reason to check. Identity is another thing that doesn't matter here, another concept that belongs to the daylight world, another weight you've set down and forgotten about. Here, in the territory of drift, you're just a presence. Not a person, not a self, not an I. Just something that exists faintly, temporarily, in the dark. Something that drifts and is drifted. Something that's part of the current and part of what the current carries. Something that's both the water and the leaf floating on its surface. And that's enough. That's more than enough. That's everything you need to be, here in the night, here in the endless gentle drift of time and darkness and rest. The silence is very deep now. Deeper than it was before, deeper than you thought silence could be. It's not just the absence of sound. It's the presence of something else, something that fills the space where sound should be. Something thick and soft and all-encompassing. The silence has weight, has substance, has dimensions. It presses against you from all sides, gentle but firm, like being underwater but without the wetness, without the pressure in your ears, without the need to hold your breath. You're breathing in silence now. Each breath draws it into your lungs, and each exhale releases more silence into the world, adding to it, deepening it, making it even more profound. The silence has layers you realize or you imagine or you dream. Surface layers that are just quiet, just the absence of obvious noise. But beneath those are deeper layers, darker layers, layers of silence so complete they feel ancient, permanent, eternal. Silence that's been here forever and will be here forever. Silence that existed before sound was invented and will exist after sound has been forgotten. You're in those deep layers now. You've sunk past the surface quiet, past the middle zones where silence is just stillness, down into the depths where silence is a thing unto itself. A presence, an entity, a force. It doesn't ask anything of you, but it changes you anyway. It seeps into you, fills the spaces between your thoughts, between your breaths, between the moments of your existence. And you become more silent yourself, not just externally but internally. The noise in your head, the constant chatter and commentary and background static, all of it is fading, dissolving, being absorbed into the deeper silence around you. Your mind is becoming quiet in a way it never is during the day. Not empty exactly, but still, settled, at rest, like a pond on a windless day, so smooth and clear you can see all the way to the bottom. Except there is no bottom, just more silence going down and down forever. There's a quality to this silence that's almost tangible. If you reached out your hand, you feel like you could touch it, feel its texture, its temperature. But you don't reach out your hand. You're too still for that, too deep in the silence yourself to make any motion that would disturb it. So you just exist in it, surrounded by it, permeated by it, becoming it slowly, gradually, until there's no boundary left between the silence and you. Sometimes, very faintly, you might hear something. A sound so distant and so quiet it might not be a sound at all. Just a faint vibration in the silence, a tiny ripple on its surface. It could be anything. A car on a distant road. A dog barking miles away. A door closing in another house, another life, another world. Or it could be nothing. Just your imagination creating patterns where none exist, because the mind does that sometimes, even here, even in the deepest silence. But the sound, if it is a sound, doesn't disturb anything. It just passes through the silence like a bird passing through fog. There for a moment, and then gone, absorbed, forgotten. And the silence remains as deep and complete as ever, as if nothing had touched it at all. You could make a sound yourself if you wanted to. You could speak, could move, could do something to break the silence, to prove that you still have that power. But you don't want to. The silence is too precious, too rare, too perfect to disturb. And besides, you're not sure you could make a sound even if you tried. Your voice feels very far away, locked behind layers of quiet, behind the weight of all these hours, behind the depth of the night itself. It would take too much effort to reach it, to pull it up from wherever it's resting, to force it out into the world. And effort is impossible here, in the deep silence, where everything is effortless, where everything just is without trying to be. So you stay quiet, and the silence stays deep, and the two of you exist together in perfect stillness. The silence has a color, if silence can have color. Not black, not even dark gray. Something softer than that, something that's barely a color at all. The color of twilight, maybe, or the color of fog, or the color of the space between stars. A color that's mostly not color, mostly just the absence of brightness, but with some quality that makes it more than nothing. And you're that color too now, or you're becoming it. Your boundaries are blurring, your edges softening, your whole being fading into that same soft non-color that the silence wears. You're becoming indistinguishable from the quiet, from the dark, from the night itself. And that's the safest place to be. To be so merged with the silence that you can't be separated from it, can't be pulled out of it, can't be disturbed or disrupted or asked to return to the world of sound and light and motion. Here, in the deep silence, you're protected. Not from anything specific, just from everything in general. From the world, from yourself, from the need to be anything other than this quiet, still, barely there presence. The silence will hold you as long as you need to be held. It will keep you safe in its depths, will let you rest in its layers, will allow you to dissolve into it completely if that's what you want. And maybe that is what you want. Maybe you've been wanting it all along without knowing. This complete surrender to silence, this total immersion in quiet, this final letting go of everything that makes noise, everything that demands attention, everything that disturbs the peace. The silence goes on forever, in all directions, in all dimensions. It has no beginning and no end, no top and no bottom, no inside and no outside. It's infinite, eternal, boundless. And you're in the middle of it, or you're part of it, or you are it. It doesn't matter which. All that matters is the depth, not happening, the stillness, or has already happened. Profound and perfect. It's hard to tell anymore. All that the boundaries between states are so blurred now they might not exist at all. You're dissolving, which might be gently, forever, without pain, which might be just another moment, without even really noticing, which might be no time at all, not dying, because time doesn't exist in the deep silence, loosening, in the place like a drawing where everything done in is sand, still, and the tide is coming in, and the lines are getting softer, less defined, harder to see. Soon they'll be gone completely, and there will just be sand again, smooth and featureless and perfect. You're that drawing, and the night is the tide, and this is what was always going to happen. This slow, sweet dissolution into something larger, something softer, something that has no shape and needs no name. Your thoughts are almost gone now. Not the way thoughts disappear when you fall asleep, quick and sudden, and then you're just not there anymore. But slowly, gradually, each one fading like a star at dawn. One moment you're thinking something, and the next moment you're not, and you can't remember what it was or why it mattered or if it was ever really there at all. And that's fine. Better than fine. The absence of thought feels like relief, like setting down a bag you've been carrying for so long you forgot it was heavy. Your body is dissolving too. The edges of it, the places where you end and the world begins, they're not clear anymore. Your skin is not a border, not a boundary, just a suggestion. Something permeable, something the night can pass through, something that's barely there at all. You can't feel where your hand ends and the air begins. You can't feel where your body ends and the mattress begins. It's all just one continuous surface, one merged existence, no separation, no distinction. You're spreading out, thinning out, becoming less concentrated, less solid, less defined. Like a drop of ink in water, or like smoke, or like mist in the morning sun, except there's no sun here, no morning, just the endless night and the endless dissolving. And it feels good. It feels right. It feels like what you've been moving toward all along, without knowing, without intending, without even wanting it until now. The self you were during the day, the person with a name and a history and a collection of traits and preferences and opinions, that self is almost gone. It's in the background now, so far back you can barely sense it. Just a faint outline, like a photograph left in the sun too long, all the details bleached away. And soon even that outline will be gone, and there will just be this. This presence without identity, this existence without self, this being that's barely being at all. You're not scared. Fear requires a self, requires something to be afraid for, something to protect, something to lose. But there's nothing to lose here, because you're giving it all away, letting it all go, dissolving it all into the night. And the night takes it gently, absorbs it without judgment, makes it part of itself without changing, without reacting, without even noticing, really. Because the night has absorbed a billion selves before you, a billion dissolutions, a billion quiet surrenders in the dark. You're just one more, just another temporary thing returning to the permanent nothing from which everything comes. There's no drama in this dissolving. No climax, no revelation, no moment of transformation. Just this slow, steady fading, like music turning down so gradually you don't notice it's getting quieter until it's almost gone. And then it is gone, and there's just silence, just stillness, just the night being night without you or anyone else to witness it. But you're still here in some form, in some way. Not as you, not as anything recognizable or nameable, but as something. Some faint residue, some gentle presence, some barely there awareness that something is happening, even if that something is nothing. You're the dissolving itself now, not the thing being dissolved. You're the process, not the product. You're the fading, the softening, the gentle letting go. And that's the most peaceful thing you've ever been. The most restful. The most complete. To not be a thing anymore, but to be a process, an action, a verb instead of a noun. To be dissolving forever endlessly, without ever quite disappearing, without ever quite finishing. Just hovering in this eternal present tense, this state of always letting go but never quite gone. The night holds this state like it holds everything else. Gently, without effort, without needing it to be anything other than what it is. The night doesn't care if you dissolve completely or if you stay like this forever, suspended between being and not being. It's all the same to the night. It's all just more darkness, more quiet, more of the endless rest that the night offers to everything that's tired of holding itself together. And you are tired of holding yourself together. You've been tired of it for so long, maybe your whole life, maybe longer than that. Maybe since before you were born. This holding, this containing, this being a separate thing with borders and boundaries and a name. It's exhausting, even when you don't realize it. Even when you think you're fine, there's this low-level strain, this constant effort of being you, of staying you, of not dissolving into the world around you. But here, now, in the deep night, the effort is finally over. You can let go. You can dissolve. You can become part of the darkness and the silence and the endless soft expanse of nothing at all. And so you do. Or you are. Or you have been all along and you're only just noticing now. The dissolving is complete, or it's just beginning, or it's neither and both and something else entirely. It doesn't matter. What matters is this feeling, this state, this place you've arrived at or that's arrived at you. This place where you're not you anymore, where there's no you to be, where everything that was solid has become liquid, has become air, has become nothing more than a thought the night had once and has already forgotten. But you're still here. Somehow, impossibly, gently, you're still here. Not gone, not dissolved completely, not lost in the darkness forever. Just here, in this moment, in this breath, in this soft awareness that something persists even after everything has been let go. The night is still holding you, or you're still part of the night, or the distinction between the two has stopped mattering. You're here, and the night is here, and that's enough. That's all there's ever been, really. Just this simple fact of presence, of existence, of something rather than nothing, even when the something is barely there at all. The dissolving hasn't ended exactly, but it's changed form. It's not erasing you anymore, or maybe it never was. Maybe it was just teaching you how much you could let go of and still remain. How far you could drift and still find your way back, or find your way forward, or find your way to this place that's neither back nor forward but simply here. The hours have piled up behind you like snowdrifts, like sand dunes, like something soft and impermanent that will melt away or blow away when the sun comes. If the sun comes, if there's still a sun in the world beyond this night. But you don't need to think about that now. You don't need to think about morning or waking or the return to the world of names and shapes and things that need doing. All of that is somewhere else, sometime else, some other version of you that will assemble itself when it's needed. Right now, there's just this resting, this floating, this gentle suspension in the dark. You're so light now, so unburdened, so free of everything you thought you had to carry. The night has taken it all, or you've given it all away, or it was never really yours to begin with. And what's left is just this simple presence, this quiet being, this awareness that has no agenda and no story and no need to be anything more than what it is in this moment. Which is almost nothing, which is exactly enough. The night is still here, still holding its shape, still being the place where things rest and things let go and things dissolve into formlessness and peace. It hasn't changed. It will never change. It's been the same night forever, the same darkness, the same gentle indifference to everything that happens in its depths. And you've joined it now, become part of its permanence, its patience, its endless capacity to hold everything without holding anything at all. You might drift off again, or you might not. You might wake slightly or sink deeper, or hover in this in-between place for hours more, for the rest of the night, for however long the night decides to last. It doesn't matter. There's no schedule here, no timeline, no moment when you have to be anywhere or do anything or become anyone. You can stay right here, in this soft, formless state, for as long as you need. The night will keep you safe. It will hold you in its depths, in its silence, in its perfect and complete acceptance of everything you are and everything you're not. And when morning comes, if it comes, you'll still be here. Changed maybe or unchanged. Rested or still tired. Whole or still dissolving. It won't matter. You'll be whatever you are, and that will be enough, because the night has taught you that enough is all there is. That you don't need to be more or less or different or better. You just need to be here in this moment, in this breath, in this soft and endless now. And you are here. You've been here all along. You'll be here still, when the night ends and the day begins and the world asks you to return to it. But not yet. Not now. Now there's just this darkness, this quiet, this gentle dissolving and reforming and the slow, patient breath of the night breathing you back to yourself, one soft moment at a time, with no hurry, with no end, with nothing but this infinite present, spreading out like water, like time, like darkness, like rest that has no bottom and no surface, just depth all the way down, depth all the way through, depth without measure, without meaning, without anything but the simple fact of being here in the night, where everything is set down, where everything is held, where everything dissolves into the soft and endless dark, and stays there, suspended, at peace, at rest, becoming nothing, becoming everything, becoming this one long breath that never finishes, that never needs to finish, that just goes on into the quiet and the dark and the gentle endless. Night that wraps around you like something you've always known, like something you were born remembering, like the first darkness you ever knew and the last darkness you'll ever need. There's a room somewhere in your memory or in your imagination, or in some space that's neither memory nor imagination, but something the night creates just for you. The room is empty or full or somewhere between. It doesn't matter what's in it because you're not looking at the objects, you're just feeling the space, the way the air sits still in corners, the way the walls hold themselves upright without effort, the way everything just is without needing to explain itself or justify its existence. You could be in that room now, or you could be somewhere else entirely. The night makes everywhere feel like the same place, makes every moment feel like the same moment, makes every breath feel like the first breath and the last breath and all the breaths in between, happening simultaneously, layered on top of each other like sheets of translucent paper, until you can't tell one from another, And it doesn't matter anyway because they're all the same breath, really. All the same moment of letting go and being held and sinking into something that has no name and needs no name. Your body has found its place now, wherever that is. It's settled into itself, or into the surface beneath it, or into the darkness around it. It's not moving, or it's moving so slowly that movement and stillness have become the same thing. Just this gentle vibration, this faint pulse, this barely there rhythm that might be your heartbeat or might be the night breathing or might be the earth turning beneath you. So slow and so vast that you're part of it now, rotating through space and time without any effort at all. The thoughts that remain, if there are any, are so soft now they're barely thoughts at all. Just wisps, just traces, just the faintest suggestion that something is being thought somewhere in the vast empty space that your mind has become. They don't connect to each other anymore, these thoughts. They don't form chains or narratives or meanings. They're just there, and then they're not there, and then something else might be there or might not be, and it's all the same, all equally unimportant, all equally welcome to come and go as they please. You're not holding on to anything now. Not thoughts, not memories, not plans, not identity, not even the sense that you're you. Everything has been released, everything has been surrendered, everything has been given back to the night to hold or to let go of as it sees fit. And the night holds it all so lightly, it's as if it's holding nothing. As if everything you've given it weighs nothing, means nothing, changes nothing in the vast and patient darkness. The night has seen so many like you, has held so many dissolving selves, has witnessed so many quiet surrenders in its depths. You're just one more wave in an infinite ocean, one more breath in an endless wind, one more moment in a night that's been happening forever and will keep happening long after you've returned to whatever you were before you were anything at all. And that's comforting in its way. To know that you're not special, not unique, not different from anything else that rests in the night's embrace. To know that what's happening to you has happened before and will happen again, that this dissolving is not new or strange or frightening, but simply what happens when something tired finally stops trying to hold itself together. The darkness has textures you hadn't noticed before, or maybe you're noticing them now for the first time. Or maybe you've always been noticing them, but only now are you aware that you're noticing. There are layers to it, depths within depths, shades of dark within the darkness. Some parts feel closer, more present, more immediate. Other parts feel distant, receding, pulling away into some further depth that you could follow if you wanted, but you don't want to. You're content right here, in this middle distance, in this soft gray space between the surface and the depths. The night is patient with you. It doesn't rush you toward sleep or toward waking, toward consciousness or toward oblivion. It lets you hover here in this in-between space for as long as you need. It gives you permission to be uncertain, to be undefined, to be in transition without moving, to be changing without becoming anything in particular. And you accept this permission gratefully, wordlessly, without even consciously accepting it, just by continuing to be here, to breathe here, to exist here in this formless and gentle way. There's a sound now very far away, or very close, or existing in some space where distance has no meaning. It might be rain, soft rain on a roof somewhere, on a window somewhere, on leaves that you can't see but that you know are there, somewhere in the darkness, getting wet, getting clean, getting quiet under the gentle percussion of water falling from a sky you can't see. Or it might not be rain at all. It might be the sound of your own breath, amplified by the silence, echoed by the emptiness, turned into something external that you can listen to without realizing you're listening to yourself. Or it might be nothing, just the night making sounds, because the night sometimes does that, for reasons that don't need understanding, for purposes that don't need explaining. The sound, whatever it is soothing. It's rhythmic without being regular, present without being intrusive, there without demanding attention. It's just part of the texture of the night now, just another layer in the infinite layers of darkness and quiet and time passing without passing, without going anywhere, without accomplishing anything. You're sinking again, or rising again, or staying exactly where you are while the night moves around you, through you, inside you. It's all the same motion, really all the same gentle shift from one state to another, from something to something else, from here to here to here. Each here the same as the last and different from the last, and neither the same nor different, because those distinctions have stopped meaning anything. Your name is so quiet now you've almost forgotten it entirely. It's there, somewhere, filed away in some drawer in some room in some distant part of yourself. But you don't need it right now. You don't need to be called anything or known as anything or recognized as anything. You can just be this nameless presence, this anonymous awareness, this thing that exists without needing to be identified or categorized or understood. The night knows you without knowing your name, holds you without needing to call you anything, keeps you safe without needing to recognize you as separate from anything else it's holding. And that's the deepest rest. To be known without being named, to be held without being grasped, to be safe without being contained. To just be here, in the darkness, in the silence, in the endless gentle dissolution and reformation that the night performs on everything that enters it. The hours continue to accumulate, or they've stopped accumulating, or time has become so flexible and strange that hours don't mean anything anymore. Each moment is its own eternity, and each eternity is just a moment, and it's all happening at once and not happening at all, and the contradiction doesn't bother you because contradictions require logic and logic requires wakefulness, and wakefulness is something you gave up so long ago you can barely remember what it felt like. You're in the deepest part of the night now, or you've been here all along, or you're approaching it, or you've passed through it already and come out the other side without noticing. The deepest part of the night is wherever you are. It moves with you, adjusts itself to you, makes itself exactly as deep as you need it to be in this moment, in this breath, in this soft and endless now. And in the deepest part of the night, there's nothing that needs doing. No effort required, no attention demanded, no consciousness necessary. Just this bare minimum of existence, this faint flicker of awareness, this barely there sense that something is happening even though nothing is happening, even though happening itself has become too complicated a concept for this place, for this state, for this gentle absence of everything except the most basic fact of being. You are barely. You exist faintly. You're here somehow in the softest possible way. And that's enough, that's always been enough, that's all there ever needs to be. Just this whisper of presence, this shadow of consciousness, this trace of awareness drifting through the dark like smoke, like mist, like something that was never quite solid to begin with, and is now becoming even less solid, even more transparent, even closer to nothing while still being something, still being here, still being held by the night in its infinite patience, in its bottomless capacity, in its gentle and eternal indifference to whether you're here or not here, awake or asleep, something or nothing, or the soft space between all possible states where everything rests and nothing moves and the night goes on forever, holding everything, asking nothing, being exactly what it's always been and will always be. This place where things are set down, where effort ends, where the day dissolves, where you can finally stop and rest and be and drift and fade and stay, all at once, all together, all here in the soft and endless dark that has no beginning and no end. Just this continuous present, this eternal now, this moment that stretches on and on like a breath that never finishes, like a thought that never completes, like a question that doesn't need an answer because the question itself is the answer. And the answer is just this, just here, just now, just the night being night and you being whatever you are in the night, which is almost nothing, which is exactly everything, which is enough. There were edges once, places where things ended and other things began. A line between your hand and the air, between your thoughts and the silence, between sleeping and waking. But those lines are gone now, or so faint you can't find them anymore. Everything bleeds into everything else. Your body bleeds into the bed bleeds into the room bleeds into the night, and the night bleeds into forever. No boundaries, no borders, no place where one thing stops being itself and becomes something else. Just this soft continuum, this gentle gradient from something to something else again, so gradual you can't see where the transitions happen. You might have had a shape once, a specific form, a particular arrangement of parts, a way of being that was distinctly you. But that shape is dissolving now, has been dissolving, will keep dissolving until there's nothing left but this formless presence, this shapeless awareness, this thing that exists without edges or definitions or any clear sense of where it begins or ends. And that's fine. Shapes are for the daytime, for the world of solid objects and clear distinctions and things that need to be separate from other things. But here, in the deep night, separation is optional, definition is unnecessary, and edges are just suggestions that no one has to follow. The darkness has no edges either. It doesn't start or stop anywhere. It's not contained by walls or limited by space or bound by any kind of border. It just goes on, spreading in all directions at once, filling everything, becoming everything, until there's nothing that isn't darkness and nothing that needs to be anything else. You're part of that now. Part of the infinite spread, part of the endless continuation, part of the darkness that has no edges and needs no edges and exists perfectly well without them. There's a comfort in this edgelessness, a relief in not having to maintain boundaries, not having to keep yourself distinct from the world around you, not having to hold the line between inside and outside, between you and not you. All of that takes effort, even when you don't notice it. Even when it seems effortless, there's this constant low-level work of maintaining yourself as a separate thing, as a bounded entity, as something that ends where other things begin. But here now that work is done. The edges have dissolved, the boundaries have faded, and you can finally stop trying to be separate, stop trying to be distinct, stop trying to be anything other than part of this vast, soft, edgeless darkness. Your thoughts have no edges anymore either. They don't have beginnings or endings, don't have clear shapes or distinct meanings. They're just there sort of drifting through your mind like fog, like smoke, like something that's barely substantial enough to qualify as thought at all. One thought blends into another, and that one blends into another, and eventually you can't tell where one ends and the next begins, or if they're separate thoughts at all, or just one long continuous drift of barely their mental activity. And you can't remember what you were thinking about anyway. Can't remember if you were thinking about anything, or if thinking is even happening, or if what's happening is something else entirely, some other form of mental activity that doesn't have a name and doesn't need one. The night doesn't think. It doesn't need to. It just exists, vast and patient, without questions or concerns or any kind of internal dialogue. And you're becoming more like the night with every passing moment, every fading thought, every dissolution of another edge you didn't know you were holding. Becoming still, becoming quiet, becoming simple in the way that only things without edges can be simple. There's a window somewhere, or there was a window, or the idea of a window exists somewhere in this edgeless space. But you can't tell anymore where the window ends and the wall begins, where the glass ends and the darkness begins, where inside ends and outside begins. It's all just space now, all just darkness, all just this continuous expanse that includes windows and walls and rooms and the night beyond and you and everything else, all mixed together, all blended, all part of the same borderless existence. You could be anywhere. You could be nowhere. The distinction has stopped mattering because the distinction has stopped existing. There's no here and there anymore. No this place and that place, no location at all really, just this sense of being somewhere in the vast edgeless dark, which is the same as being everywhere in it, which is the same as being nowhere at all. Your body has forgotten its edges too. It used to know exactly where it ended, used to maintain that knowledge constantly, automatically, without any conscious effort. But now that knowledge has faded, that automatic sensing has gone quiet, and your body is just this vague presence, this soft collection of sensations that could be anywhere, could be any size, could extend for miles or be compressed into a single point, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Sometimes you can feel something that might be your hand, might be your foot, might be some other part of you, or might be something else entirely. A sensation arises, exists for a moment, fades away, and you can't trace it back to any specific location. Can't place it in any map of your body because the map has dissolved, the body has become unmappable, has become just this edgeless field of occasional sensation floating in the dark. And that's fine. That's perfect. The body doesn't need edges any more than the darkness needs them. It can just be this soft, diffuse presence, this collection of warmth and weight and breath that exists without needing to be contained or defined or separated from anything else. The night is holding you, or you're holding yourself, or there's no difference between the two because holding requires edges, requires something distinct that can be held, and those edges are gone now, dissolved, forgotten. So maybe there's no holding happening at all. Maybe there's just existing, just being, just this state where everything is so mixed together that concepts like holding and being held stop making sense. Where it's all just here, all just now, all just this edgeless presence in the edgeless dark. Time has no edges either, you realize or remember or dream. No clear beginning to this moment and no clear end. No line where the past stops and the present begins. No line where the present stops and the future begins. Just this soft blur of time, all of it happening at once, or none of it happening at all, or something in between that language can't quite capture, because language needs edges too, needs clear distinctions and separate concepts and words that mean one thing and not another. But here, in this place, language has dissolved along with everything else. The words you might have used once are gone now, or so quiet you can't hear them, or they've blended together into a soft hum of meaningless sound that rises and falls like breathing, like waves, like something that was almost language once, but has forgotten how to mean anything. And you don't need language anyway. Don't need words to describe this, don't need concepts to understand it. Don't need anything but this direct experience of edgelessness, of dissolution, of boundaries fading until there's nothing left but this vast, soft, undifferentiated existence. You might have been afraid of this once, in the daylight world, in the world where edges matter and boundaries keep you safe. The idea of losing yourself, of dissolving, of having your edges fade until you're indistinguishable from everything around you. That might have seemed frightening, dangerous, like a kind of death or disappearance or loss. But it's not frightening here. Here, in the actual experience of it, in the soft reality of edgelessness, it's just peaceful, just gentle, just this sense of relief, of finally being allowed to stop holding yourself together, stop maintaining your boundaries, stop working so hard to stay separate and distinct in you. The night doesn't judge your edgelessness, doesn't see it as a failure or a loss or something to be concerned about. The night has been edgeless forever, has never known what it's like to have boundaries, and it welcomes you into that state with the same patient indifference it brings to everything. You can be edgeless here. You can dissolve here. You can let everything blur together until there's no you and no night and no distinction between existing and not existing. And the night will hold it all, or not hold it, or do whatever it is the night does with things that have stopped being things and become just more darkness, just more silence, just more of the vast soft nothing that fills the spaces where edges used to be. You're in a country now that has no name and no map. A place between sleeping and waking, between consciousness and unconsciousness, between being here and being nowhere at all. The country of half-sleep, where nothing is quite real and nothing is quite unreal, where everything exists in this strange suspended state, this liminal space, this borderland that belongs to neither day nor night, but to something else entirely. The rules are different here. Time moves strangely, speeds up and slows down without warning, loops back on itself, jumps forward, stands still. Space folds and unfolds in ways that would be impossible anywhere else, that are impossible even here, but somehow happen anyway. Cause and effect stop working the way they're supposed to. Things appear before they arrive, disappear while you're still looking at them, exist in multiple places at once or in no place at all. And you accept all of this without question, without confusion, because in the country of half-sleep, questioning doesn't exist, confusion doesn't register, and everything that happens is just how things are, naturally, obviously, inevitably. You might be dreaming now, or you might be awake, or you might be doing both at once, or neither. The distinction has stopped mattering, has stopped even being a distinction, has become just another edge that's dissolved in the soft formless night. Images drift through your mind, or through the darkness, or through some space that's neither mind nor darkness, but something that contains both. A face, maybe, that you recognize without knowing who it is. A room you've never been in that feels completely familiar. A landscape that shifts and changes every time you try to look at it. That's mountains and then ocean and then desert and then something else entirely, something that doesn't exist in the waking world, something that only makes sense here, in this country where sense itself is optional. These images don't mean anything. They're not symbols or messages or clues to anything deeper. They're just the country of half-sleep entertaining itself, creating patterns because patterns are what minds do when they're drifting, when they're unmoored from reality, when they're free to make things up without any concern for truth or logic or consistency. You watch these images, or you are these images, or you're somewhere between watching and being, between seeing and becoming what you see. A door opens and you walk through it without moving. A staircase descends and you're at the bottom without having climbed down. A voice speaks and you understand without hearing words, without the voice saying anything that could be translated into language. Everything is like this here. Direct, immediate, bypassing all the normal channels of perception and understanding. You know things without learning them, feel things without them happening, remember things that never occurred and forget things that are happening right now. Your body, in the country of half-sleep, is both present and absent. You can feel it, sort of, but it's not quite your body anymore. It's heavier than it should be and lighter than it should be, larger and smaller, here and there, solid and transparent. It changes depending on how you think about it, or it changes without you thinking about it at all, just shifting forms like water shifting containers, taking whatever shape the moment requires without any effort or intention. Sometimes you have hands, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're standing, sometimes lying down, sometimes floating in that in-between state where up and down have stopped meaning anything. And all of it is fine, all of it is normal here. All of it is just how bodies work in this country where nothing works the way it works anywhere else. The country of half-sleep has its own geography, vague and shifting, but somehow consistent in its inconsistency. There are places here you recognize, places you return to even though you don't remember leaving them. Places that feel like home even though you've never been here before, or you've been here 1,000 times, or you've been here forever and just forgot until now. A field of tall grass that whispers without wind. A house with too many rooms, all of them empty, all of them yours. A road that goes in two directions at once, or no directions, or every direction simultaneously. These places exist only here, only now, only in this moment of half-sleep when the mind is free to create worlds without worrying about whether those worlds make sense or could exist or follow any rules except the rule that there are no rules. And you wander through these places, or you stay still while they move past you, or you are these places yourself, or all three at once, or something else entirely that has no name and needs no name. Time in the country of half-sleep is especially strange. You might be here for a moment or for hours. You might experience entire lifetimes in a single breath, or a single breath might stretch out to contain years. The present moment includes the past and the future, all mixed together, all happening now, all equally real and equally unreal. You remember things that haven't happened yet. You anticipate things that happened long ago. You exist in multiple moments at once, or outside of time entirely, or in some version of time that's personal to you, that has nothing to do with clocks or calendars or the orderly progression of seconds into minutes into hours. And this doesn't confuse you. Nothing confuses you here because confusion requires a clear sense of how things should be, and in the country of half-sleep, there is no should be, there's only is, and is can be anything, can be everything, can change from moment to moment without warning or reason. The inhabitants of this country, if there are inhabitants, are shadows and suggestions, partial presences, things that might be people or might be memories or might be just shapes the darkness takes when you're not looking directly at them. They don't speak, or if they do, their words bypass language entirely and go straight into understanding or misunderstanding, or some state between the two where meaning is fluid and interpretation is unnecessary. You might see someone you know, or someone you've never met, or someone who doesn't exist. They might look at you or through you, or might not have eyes at all. They might gesture, beckoning you towards something or warning you away, but you don't follow and you don't flee. You just observe or don't observe, or exist in the same space with them without any relationship or connection or need for either. They're just part of the country, just more shapes in the half-sleep, just more elements of this strange landscape where everything is possible and nothing is certain. The border between this country and other states is permeable, constantly shifting. You might slip back toward waking, the images becoming clearer, the logic becoming stronger, the sense of yourself as a distinct entity starting to return. Or you might slip deeper into sleep, the images fading entirely, the geography dissolving, the whole country disappearing into pure unconsciousness. Or you might stay right here, balanced on this edge, this threshold, this perfect point between conscious and unconscious, where you're aware enough to notice what's happening but not aware enough to control it or question it or try to make sense of it. And this balance, this hovering, this suspension in the country of half-sleep, is the most restful place of all. More restful than deep sleep, because some awareness remains, some faint presence that experiences the rest without being unconscious of it. More restful than waking, because all effort has ceased, all trying has stopped, all need to engage with reality or make decisions or be anyone in particular has dissolved into this soft, formless drift. You could stay in this country forever, or for a few more moments, or maybe you've been here forever already and are only just now noticing. Time doesn't work the same way here, remember. Forever and a moment are the same duration in the country of half-sleep. where duration itself is just another concept that stopped meaning anything. The country breathes around you, or with you, or you are its breathing, expanding and contracting, growing larger and smaller, becoming more defined and less defined in a rhythm that might match your own breathing, or might be completely independent, moving to its own slow pulse, its own patient rhythm, its own sense of when to grow and when to fade. And you breathe with it, or it breathes with you, or there's no breathing at all, just this sense of expansion and contraction, of things becoming more and less, of the country of half sleep doing what it always does, which is exist in this state of constant gentle flux, never quite the same from one moment to the next, never quite different enough to notice the changes. The country accepts you completely, without judgment, without expectation, without caring whether you stay or go, or drift off into deeper sleep, or wake suddenly into the harsh world of edges and definitions and things that need doing. It's just here, being a country, being a space, being a state of consciousness or unconsciousness or the soft blur between them. And you're here too, being whatever you are in this moment, in this place, in this strange and gentle country where nothing is quite real and everything is perfectly softly, exactly as it should be. There's a heaviness now that has nothing to do with weight. You're not pressing down on anything. Nothing is pressing down on you. And yet there's this sense of heaviness, this quality of being weighted by something invisible, something that has no mass but somehow has presence, somehow has gravity. It's the weight of nothing, the heaviness of emptiness, the strange paradox of feeling pressed down by the absence of everything. This weight is comforting in its way. It holds you in place without constraining you, keeps you still without forcing you, makes movement impossible not because you're trapped, but because moving has become unthinkable, unnecessary, irrelevant. Why would you move when this heaviness feels so good? When this weight feels so much like rest, like arrival, like finally being allowed to stop? The weight of nothing is everywhere. It fills the room, if you're in a room, pressing into every corner, every space, every gap between objects. It fills your body, making your limbs heavy, your head heavy, your eyelids heavy, your very thoughts heavy and slow, and barely able to form themselves before the weight drags them back down into silence. It fills time itself, making each moment last longer, making the hours stretch and yawn and settle into this thick, slow passage where nothing happens and nothing needs to happen, and the sheer weight of the emptiness is enough to fill everything. You sink under this weight, or into it, or you become it. It's hard to tell which because the weight is so total, so complete, so all-encompassing that there's no part of you left that isn't weighted, no part of you that remains separate enough to observe the sinking or the becoming or whatever is happening. You're just here, under the weight, in the weight, made of this heavy nothing that presses on everything without being anything at all. The darkness has weight now too, or maybe it always did and you're only noticing now. It's not just the absence of light anymore, it's a presence in itself, something substantial, something that has density and thickness and the ability to press against you, to hold you down, to keep you exactly where you are with its gentle, insistent pressure. You can feel the darkness on your skin, or you imagine you can, or the distinction between feeling and imagining has dissolved along with so many other distinctions. It's cool or warm, or it has no temperature at all, just this sense of being there, being present, being heavy in the way that only emptiness can be heavy. The weight makes breathing different. Not harder, exactly, but more deliberate, more noticeable. Each breath has to push against the weight, has to move through the heavy darkness, has to displace some of this thick emptiness to make room for air. And so breathing becomes slower, deeper, more like work, but work that feels good, work that feels right, work that feels like what you're supposed to be doing in this moment, in this heavy darkness, under this weight of nothing. In slowly, pushing against the weight. Out slowly, releasing into it, letting it press back in, letting it fill the space your breath just left. In and out and in and out, and each cycle takes longer than the last, and eventually you're not sure if you're breathing at all or if the breathing is happening to you, or if you've become breathing itself, just this slow rhythm of expansion and contraction under the weight of nothing. Your thoughts are heavy too, weighted down until they can barely move, can barely form, can barely exist as thoughts at all. They're more like impressions now, vague and formless, pressing into your consciousness for a moment, and then sinking back down into the heavy silence before they can become anything clear or complete. A thought about someone maybe, but you can't remember who. A thought about something you meant to do, but you can't remember what. A thought about where you are or what time it is or how long you've been here, but the weight presses it down before it can finish forming, and you're left with just the faint impression that you were thinking about something, that something was there for a moment, but it's gone now, sunk back down into the weight, into the heavy nothing that fills everything. And that's fine. You don't need thoughts right now. Thoughts are light, mobile, quick things that belong to the day, to the world of movement and action and things that need figuring out. But here, under the weight of nothing, thoughts have no place, no function, no reason to exist. The weight takes care of everything, holds everything, makes everything simple by making everything heavy, by pressing everything down until only the most essential things remain. Breathing, being, existing under the weight. That's all there is, all there needs to be. The weight of nothing is timeless, or maybe time has weight now too, has become heavy and slow and thick, pressing down on the present moment until the present moment expands to fill everything, until there's no past to remember and no future to anticipate, just this heavy now, weighted down by its own existence, by the sheer density of being present under all this pressure. You've been here for minutes or hours or days. The weight makes it impossible to tell, impossible to track, impossible to care. Duration has become meaningless when every moment is this heavy, when every second takes an hour to pass, when time itself has sunk under the weight and lies there, still and slow and barely moving at all. There's no bottom to this weight, no point where you'll sink through it and come out the other side. It just goes down and down forever, or it's just here, not going anywhere, just pressing, just being heavy, just being this thing that holds everything in place without being anything itself. You could stay under this weight forever. You could let it press on you for the rest of time, could let it hold you down and make you heavy and keep you exactly where you are, exactly as you are, without change or movement or any need for either. And that would be fine. That would be more than fine. That would be exactly what you've been wanting, even though you didn't know you wanted it until now, until you felt this weight, this pressure, this heaviness that feels like home, like safety, like the deepest rest you've ever known. The weight is not oppressive. It doesn't suffocate or crush or harm. It just holds, just presses, just makes everything heavy and slow and still. And under this weight, you're safe. Safe from movement, from change, from the need to do or be or become anything other than this heavy, still, weighted presence in the dark. The weight of nothing is the weight of pure rest, of complete cessation, of everything stopping and staying stopped for as long as the weight remains. And the weight will remain forever, or for a few more hours, or for however long the night lasts, which might be the same thing, which might be no thing at all, just this continuous present, this weighted moment, this heavy now pressing down and down and down into the soft, dark earth of sleep.